are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Well, I want to thank you so much for this wonderful docu-series. I was just riveted from beginning to end, I have to tell you. First, I want to ask you, how much of a ballet fan were you before you even got started with this?
I would say before the project, I danced as a kid in my little local community center ballet school. But I was not long for a ballet career and found other interests by middle school, obviously. I knew who George Balanchine was, one of America's greatest choreographers, and I knew about the School of American Ballet, and I knew about their affiliation a bit with New York City Ballet. But going in, I didn't know a lot. So it was a real learning experience for me, just to learn the art form itself, the dance, and then having to think about how we were going to capture that on camera, um, which presents its own unique set of challenges. But I learned a lot through the course of the production,
Well,
for
yeah, I
sure.
was going to ask you that because here you are following these, up and comers. It just blows my mind what they go through and the dedication and the loyalty. Obviously, it's a lot of hard work, but you're following these kids into the New York City School of American Ballet. Were you worried about the kind of access that you were going to get? I mean, you got unprecedented access in this docuseries.
Yeah, we were very fortunate in that we had a good relationship with the school that had been established a few years ago. In coming in, it was very clear that in order to tell these stories, we did need to have access, and to achieve that, the production sort of got to be, we made it its most minimal we could possibly make it. And I think after a while we just sort of blended into the furniture a little bit because we want people to alter themselves for the camera, and we also just didn't want to get in the way. They're doing very serious training there, and we couldn't just be walking into the middle of the room. So we established ourselves at the school by going a lot, many times a week, and spending a lot of hours there. And also getting to know students and their families, so that by the time we wrapped our production, we were just, folks in the hall that you wave to and would catch up with while we were running around with our camera.
Yeah, and I have to ask you, I mean, I know you have to kind of stay neutral, but when you're following these kids and no matter if they're, 6 years old or 18 or whatever, you start to feel for them. I mean, they, like I say, they work so hard and any little teeny little thing that they get wrong, okay, sorry, you're not going to get the role. I mean, it's got to be so heartbreaking. They spend their lives devoted to this. Did you feel that you were connecting with maybe a couple of kids or more than others, or you know what I mean? How do you stay neutral and keep your series balanced so that everybody is getting a fair shake in there?
Yeah. Um, every kid has such an extraordinary story, just by nature of being there, and also because the younger kids come from all over New York City. And so to be in their homes and their neighborhoods, really different neighborhoods from all over the five boroughs and into New Jersey, or being with the older students who are coming from different parts of the country. We had gone home with a few of those on their way into to the School of American Ballet in the summertime. And it's there are just so many and good stories. And I think to have the students featured that we did, we felt like they were a good representation of the overall student body there. And they're so focused, but geographically, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, from different racial backgrounds. And I was, pleasantly surprised at the diversity of students there as well. That was another surprising thing for me. And it was important that we show that on camera, like what ballet is looking like now.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that, many of the teachers too were, of course, former students, former ballet dancers and everything. And their loyalty to these kids is amazing. Amazing. What a tight-knit group, really.
Yeah, I love, there's a line I think one of the teachers has in one of the episodes where she says, I was a student at the school, I danced with the company, and I came back to teach. And that's the circle of it. And that's so lovely in this day and age where, people might float from place to place or job to job. It really is just a circle that George Balanchine had established when he established the school over 80 years ago.
Yeah, there's nothing like sitting and watching a beautiful ballet, seriously. And I will never forget being a little girl and my parents taking me to see the Nutcracker for the first time. And I think my jaw was on the ground the whole time. Like, seriously, you just don't even know where to look. And do you remember the first time you ever sat and watched a ballet?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think my mother had taken me to see the Nutcracker, and similarly, the Sugar Plum Fairy comes out and does her solo, and I'm just blown away. Like, how does she stand on her toes like that? It's funny as we're shooting. We'd be watching the kids in class, and they make it look so easy, and you kind of think that, oh, I can't just walk away and do what they just did. No, like there's sort of, you get so wrapped up in watching all this all day long that it's sort of transcends what you think you can do, which is quite fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this series. It was lovely talking to you this morning. And yeah, like I say, they are a lesson in discipline. And oh my goodness, these kids they're just amazing, honestly. Thank you and happy holidays to you. And I hope you have a good rest of your year. And let's keep our fingers crossed for a good 2021.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy holidays to you as well.